Hello everybody, happy birthday ADA. And this is a series of authors reading a chapter or so from their book. I'm reading a chapter from this book, Stutter Interrupted, the comedian who almost didn't happen. Thank you for joining me in my backyard in Oakland, California. And I hope that this lantern here doesn't exaggerate how big and huge my head is. So I'm going to read from chapter 13, and I should state at this point, you can't hear it a lot now, you can't, but you'll hear it. I am a person who stutters, as well as someone who has dyslexia, or a stutter and dyslexic, whatever way you want to say it. And back in school, not really fun to read out loud, but you're gonna join me on that journey of doing that. So here we go. Oh yeah, and by the way, I'm gonna say some words, so don't play this around your kids. PG-13 warning here. See, there it is. I really do stutter. Okay, assholisms. What is a microaggression? Psychologist Daryl Wingsu defines microaggressions as brief, everyday exchanges that send denigrating messages to certain individuals because of their group membership. Examples include assuming that an Asian person is good in math, or talking about the one thing you know about African American culture to the Black person that you just met. Microaggressions usually slip under the radar. That's why they're called micro. They can be a certain type of glance, a backhanded compliment, anything that takes you down a peg. While the term was originally coined to describe the type of behavior towards people of color, it has since been adopted by other marginalized groups, including the disability community. I prefer a more straightforward term of assholisms. Just to be clear, committing an assholism doesn't automatically make you an asshole. We all make mistakes trying to navigate the world of impossible, complicated interactions. I know I have been guilty of assholisms. What makes someone an asshole is when they know they're committing an assholism and they keep on doing it. It is also important to consider the varying degree of assholisms. I try to grade them on a scale of 1 to 10. A 1 or 2 is something I can give the benefit of the doubt to. A 9 or 10 is something so flagrant, so inflammatory, that it merits a hefty fuck you. Like Dante's circle of hell, the 10 levels of assholism are all bad, but it's far better to be on the shallow end. To give you an idea of how assholisms work, I have compiled examples from my own life. Is that Nina with 5 N's? Section of the chapter. Comedians tend to be more upfront about their assholisms. Maybe it's the informal setting or the pressure to have a snappy line on hand at all times. Whatever the reason, if a comedian makes an offhand remark about my stuttering, it will probably rank higher than average on the asshole-o-meter. The upside is that I don't have to worry about coming up with a carefully measured response. I can just let them have it. The schlubs don't realize they're actually giving me a precious gift. The ability to blow off 30-something years of steam in a way that would get me in trouble anywhere else. Dealing with the brazen assholisms of comedy is good practice for dealing with the sneakier ones of everyday life. One of the first assholisms I got from a comedian was at an open mic in San Francisco. Nick's Crispy Tacos, may it rest in peace. I was fairly new to the scene and didn't know anybody. Hoping to make some friends, I introduced myself to another comic, stuttering as usual on my name. He quipped, "Is that Nina with 5 N's?" "No," I said, flipping him the double bird. That's Nina with 2 N's. And by the way, this isn't in the book, but I actually said, is that Nina with 1 N? Because I have dyslexia and forgot I had 2 N's in my name at the moment, but that's besides the point. When it was my turn to turn on stage, I delivered all of my jokes about stuttering in his direction. Watching him squirm uncomfortably, later that night, I went to a dive bar in Alameda to do another set. And who should I find there but Mr. 5 N's. He was very apologetic about the whole thing, and we've been on good terms ever since. Every now and then, I still give him a hard time about it, especially since he considers him the social justice-y type. There's a helicopter in my area, so I just want to let you guys know in case you hear anything. That's it. I'm going to try to film in between, but hopefully this isn't too choppy. Okay, here we go. Next section, $1 million stutter. I was on an early morning talk show to promote my comedy troupe, the Comedians with Disabilities Act. As the segment wrapped and my interviewers threw it back over to the anchor said, "Tell her, me, that Mel Tillis made $1 million stuttering." He didn't stutter when he said it. That would have been weird. Obviously, it was intended in good spirit, in the good spirit of bland news banter. Or maybe he thought I would be inspired by the idea that you can receive $1 million just for stuttering, which show me the check and I will be inspired. Measuring on the asshole-o-meter, I'd rate this comment as a 5, maybe a 6 because of the public setting. Women who stutter are almost never on TV. Apart from the bikini-clad hot dog vendor who was on the Howard Stern show in the 90s, I talk about her in my book because it was the first time that I ever saw a woman stutter on TV. And I always say, if the first time you see yourself reflected as a woman is on the Howard Stern show, then maybe the media could be doing a better job with that. And there's also a woman on Oprah who put on headphones and she stuttered, and then she became magically fluent after, and I have to hear about it every once in a while from strangers who are trying to tell me that I too can be fluent. But as a proud stutterer in this situation on the news show, I had to say something. When the anchor joked that Mel Tillis got $1 million stuttering, I calmly replied, "That and his talent." I think the anchor and the viewers got the message. I would say that my response was appropriately reserved for a level 6 assholism. I couldn't come at this guy guns blazing like when I flipped off the other comedian with my 2 N's. The reporter had his fans and I was on his turf. Also, flipping the bird is not exactly morning show behavior. Believe it or not, I sometimes can take the classy route. Thank you so much for staying with me and for checking out this chapter, Assholisms in Stutter Interrupted, the comedian who almost didn't happen. Thank you.